It looks like we're live. It looks like things are happening. Pretty wild. I'm back in Canada. I've been away for a couple of weeks. It's been a little bit strange to not be here, and I've missed you all. So it's good to be back, and it's good to see you, even though I can't see you. What's going on with me? Well, I didn't get that much of a tan, but I was in Florida for 2 weeks, having a great time doing the Disney thing. And for anyone who's watching and has no idea what I'm talking about, my name is Sean Shapiro. This is Ask a Traffic Cop. Who am I? Why am I here? I'm a police officer with the Toronto Police Service here in Ontario, Canada, and I answer your traffic and police questions Monday to Friday, although I wasn't here yesterday or the weeks before. But I answer your questions from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. And apparently Q&A is not working. We don't know why. It didn't work when I was in Florida either, nor do I know how to turn it on at this point. Let's see. Q&A was supposed to be on. Let's see what's going on. For some reason, it stopped working. Admin settings. Yeah, I don't think I can actually do this. Don't know where it is. Q&A is not working. And I don't know how to fix it. Q&A, at least on the TikTok. That's the issue. That's the issue. Anybody know how to turn it on? Let me know. Because right now, it doesn't look like I can. It should be on, but it is not on. Maybe it's being turned off as a function. Not sure. Anyway, we have Erin Urquhart, who is not here at the moment, but will be joining us shortly. She has threatened to be a second on the audio of this broadcast today, answering traffic or parking. That's what she does, parking. Let's talk about Vision Zero enforcement team while we sort other things out. Today is June 7th. Yeah, we covered that. Vision Zero enforcement team. That's a dedicated group of officers who go out in our city and engage with those who choose to break traffic laws. They do it by way of stopping them and issuing tickets. So they're looking for people who are committing offenses in the Big Four. That's folks who are speeding, driving aggressively, driving distracted, or driving impaired. All those things lead to serious injury and death on our roadways. It's not acceptable. And they don't give out hugs, they give out tickets. That's because nobody should be doing those things. Anyway, where are they today? They are in 22 Division and 51 Division. What does that mean? It means that there was a space missing before an @ sign, so one of the tags didn't work in my tweet. That's no good. But Etobicoke West Mall, the Queensway, Etobicoke, in general, you've got St. Jamestown, Cabbagetown, Riverdale, Church and Yonge neighborhoods. Those are the areas they're focused on. And they are looking again for people who are making the roads less safe for everybody who are using them. Jose Camacho, missed you. I'm just reading back. He was on LinkedIn and he said, missed you, big guy. Good morning from Ryan Pinn. What's going on? Long time no talk. Chassis Ho says, welcome back. Did you still do no carbs? No, I will tell you this. All of my clothing shrank. My uniform is not as comfy as it was when I left. So Florida and going and enjoying myself on Disney property did cause negative side effects. Pro Football Craze says, welcome back. Myco Craig says, welcome back. And Big Jeff Fresh, heyo, what's going on? I have lots of folks who are coming from different platforms, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Twitch, all over the place. We are everywhere that you are. Okay, so I don't know how to fix the little issue we have, which is the fact that Q&A is not working. No idea how to fix it. And the problem with that is how to get questions in here. Because people can see the Q&A, but I can't see the Q&A. Help! Maybe we can get some here. I'm going to scroll back and look at here. What do we got there? We have pictures, moving, scrolling. I got an opportunity to talk about the fact that we are hiring at the Toronto Police. Toronto Police, you can go to our website, www.torontopolice.on.ca/careers, and we're taking applications for police officers, for, I believe, parking enforcement is hiring. They're all hiring. Why? Because we need good people. So if you would like to become a member of our team, check out the webpage. All right. Justino wants to know, will I be on two wheels soon? The question is, I don't know. I'm still not on the road, still doing this office thing. So I look forward to riding again. I may be riding my personal bike soon. I really hope to get it on the road. That's my mission this week. Okay. Yeah, I don't understand why the deal is with the Q&A. It's broken and we can't fix it. Tracy says, welcome back. Thank you very much. Score says, welcome back. Are lights in the rims legal? It's a question from Ash. And the answer is, if they are not projecting light outward, if they're not flashing red, you should be okay. The issue is that you cannot project light outward. If to the ground's not a problem, you can't project it forward, back, or side to side. My wife is in the chat. Leo wife, good morning. I hope this means the kids are having snack time. It's the first day without dad in 2 weeks because we've been on vacation having fun together. And, oh, that's not what I wanted to do. Hang on, how do I do this? There we go. Hey, I can put the chat full screen. Maybe this will make life a little easier. Okay. So yeah, in terms of lights in the wheels, it's not something I suggest doing. I think it's a distraction. I think it can look cool in a show car. Use it off-road, not on-road. And while I say that you should be okay if it's not red light or flashing, I would avoid it just because you can find an officer who determines that it does violate the Highway Traffic Act and issue a ticket, at which point you'd have to go in and explain it in court. Because it's not just the deal with law is that there is a framework. There's the wording that's on there, and different people will interpret the law differently, which means you can still be charged for things. You just may have a defense, and then you have to convince the JP that the officer was not correct in their interpretation. So you're better off not going down that road and not having lights in your wheel wells. That's what I'm saying. Okay.
Can you move your picture up a little bit more? It's covering the back of the beaver. And the question in chat is, do you provide ride-alongs?
Providing ride-alongs? That's an odd... do we do ride-alongs as a service? If you are someone who is going to be, who can articulate a reason why you'd be doing ride-along, we just don't do it. It's not a taxi service or a tour service. If you're somebody who's joining a police service or interested in a career in policing, we used to do it. I don't know if we're back to doing it. And I'm not making fun of you. You know, in terms of... ride-alongs, it was a great opportunity back in the day. If you were, someone in the media who wanted to have a better understanding of what we do, there were opportunities to get you out on the road. But generally speaking, it's not something that is often done, and it's not done. I don't think it's happened since COVID. So I don't know if it's happening. You could call a recruiting if you have a recruiter. They might be able to arrange something for you, or call a local division. But I don't do them. So there you go. Are modulating headlights legal in Ontario on motorcycles? I have one installed on my motorcycle, and I think they annoy people more than anything else. I installed it many, many years ago. A modulating headlight is one that goes from low beam to high beam and back again. It is not a wigwag. Wigwag is left and right flashing. Those are illegal under the Highway Traffic Act. There's no specific area for the modulating headlight, other than it could be argued that it's improper use of your high beams. They could create a good safety use, or I think they're a good safety for country roads. So I wouldn't use them unless you were in an area that you could articulate needed better visibility. Using them in the city is going to cause a lot of issues, I think, because you're going to be high beaming everybody constantly. It's annoying, and I've stopped using it. They have photo sensors on them, so you can't use them at night, which is good. So. Going back, I don't think there's a specific section that would address them, although improper use of headlamps or high beams could be something, because you are flashing your high beams in people's faces, so you could be charged under there. What's being done to stop cars being stolen on a regular basis? Well, a lot of that is what you do as a vehicle owner, where you park it. Do you use any vehicle, anything to prevent people from choosing your vehicle? Because they tend to look for vehicles that are, well, made available. So if you're parking it on a driveway in an area that's not well lit, frankly, if the bad guys want to get your car, they're going to. But putting something like the club or a wheel device to stop someone from taking it, anything to make your vehicle less attractive, less easy to take, is a good thing. But they could pick it up and put it on a tow truck if they really wanted. There's all sorts of different methods for stealing vehicles, and depending on if your vehicle is a high risk or one that they have a high want for, if it's popular, you're in a position where you want to make sure you park it indoors, park it in a well-lit area, have security system, maybe put a club or a restriction on your brake pedal, put a bypass or a ignition cutout switch. But the truth is, if they want it, they're going to get it. beyond that, I don't know what else to tell you about things to do to reduce the chances of having your car or vehicle stolen. Have you been to Vancouver for a vacation? Not in many years, but I did go many, many years ago. Let's see here. What are the laws with underglow? The laws are for underglow are non-existent. There's no specific law about underglow. And if the underglow is installed well, if it's installed properly and the bulbs aren't visible, projecting light forward, backwards, side to side, and only down, I think they're legal. You're okay. If your bulbs are visible and you are projecting light forward, you have an improper headlight. It's shining light forward. If it's color other than yellow or white, it's a problem. Yeah. Same thing for back. Okay. Really annoyed that the Q&A is not working. Okay.
Apparently, people can't read the banner on the back. They're asking if you're actually a cop.
Yes, my name is on the screen. So if the folks that are on YouTube, Twitch, LinkedIn, Facebook, all the other platforms don't see this, but on TikTok, it actually says my name, the service, my where I work, my rank. So yes, this is Ask a Traffic Cop. My name is Sean Shapiro. I'm a police constable at the Toronto Police Service here in Ontario, Canada, and I work for Traffic Services, which is a traffic enforcement unit or a traffic unit that is citywide. What do I do here? Well, I am working in the Traffic Safety Programs Office, and this is my first day back from vacation, so I'm a little rusty, it seems, and because I'm still on vacation mode, apparently. I was in a meeting that left me no prep time for going live today. I walked here with like 3 minutes to spare and started flipping switches to make it all happen. But I'm glad to be back, and I'm glad to see everybody, even though I can't physically actually see you. Can you get a car covered in license plates? What? Can you get a car covered in license plates? I think that would be an interesting challenge. I'm trying to figure out the context of your question. It's not coming to me. Hang on one second. I need some agua.
Maybe they want to sticker bomb their car with like license plates all over it.
I can't speculate. Want a microphone? Oh, it's horrible. I'm listening to the same thing that you are. Yeah, today's a day of interference, probably because of the rain. And Erin was saying it sounds no nicey in her ears.
Yeah, I had to take the headphones.
It's a horrible sound. Nobody else can hear it. I can hear it. Q, can you hear it?
No, sir.
Okay. So, covered in license plates. Don't get it. Joining us now is Erin Urquhart, TPS bike cart.
That's right.
That's right. Haven't said that out loud in a couple of weeks. So now Erin is a parking enforcement officer in the city of Toronto, and if you have questions about parking, feel free to ask, even though it's not something I can find easily.
Here's a good question in chat for you, Sean. Do you traffic cops get dispatched for distressed calls or just traffic issues?
We are police officers first and foremost. We can get dispatched to anything, but we are unless we're called upon, we are by dispatch. We are generally going to be dispatched for collisions and investigations involving impaired driving or HTA offenses. We also do enforcement outside of that, but we could be called for anything. We are still police officers. Okay. Can cops get tickets for improper driving? No signals, brake light out. Generally speaking, if that happens, we would get it fixed. We check our vehicles. If something happens during the period of time that we're driving it, just like anybody else, we would notify the person that they're having an issue with their hardware. If someone's driving with a headlight out and it's still safe to drive, or if it's daytime, you might get a warning for that. Police officers don't generally get tickets in police vehicles when that happens. Could they? I'm sure they could. Do they? I don't think they do. Crossing over solid lines in and out of HOV lanes. So solid lines not in HOV lanes are completely unrelated. There's no HTA offense for crossing over a solid or dotted line in Ontario. That being said, the lines that HOV lanes have are specifically covered by a sign that is posted in those lanes, and by crossing those lines, you are violating the sign. So you'd be disobeying a sign, and you could be charged. What is this? Hey, question, should we keep our insurance in our cars? So this is about motor vehicle insurance. So you do have to have your vehicle insured if you're in Ontario. And should you keep a copy in the vehicle, it's a good place to have it. I keep a copy in my wallet. You can also, if the company offers it, you can also have an electronic copy. Sarah from Hamilton says hello. How's it going? What colors can I have for lights under my car? Under your car, you've got a pretty open selection. As long as you don't, I would avoid, I should say, red, blue, green, and certainly anything that flashes is, a problem. But flashing red in particular is a charge for that. Make sure it's installed properly so you're not projecting forward, backwards, or side to side, just down. If it reflects off the ground, that's a different story. What is this? Yo, if you caught someone driving by themselves only with their permit, what would you do? I assume you mean learner's permit, a G1, or in this case, for Ontario driver, it would be a G1 or 365 for 100 years ago when I was a kid. You charge them. Charge them for drive unaccompanied. They have to be supervised by a qualified G, which means they have the G that supervises them is sitting in the front passenger seat, that they are one who has at least 4 years experience. That experience starts when they get their G2 and continues for, into their G. So total of 4 years experience. They could have had, 4 years as a G2 and then got their G, or 2 and 2, whatever it works out to. What is this? Big Jeff Fresh is going into audio lurk mode. Okay. Let's see here. Oh, so just to finish off on the charge for drive unaccompanied, in addition to that, your conviction for that violation would include a 30-day suspension of your license. On the first offense, second offense, 90-day suspension, third offense, you'd be kicked out of the graduate licensing program. You're also not an insured driver when you're driving alone as a permit holder. You're a learner. You need to have somebody else there. You're not a licensed driver to operate, and since you're not a licensed driver, you're not covered under the insurance. What is this? Can I drive in an HOV lane alone if we are in a hurry? Well, that I think you know the answer to that, and the answer is no. The HOV lane requires you to have 2 people minimum inside of the vehicle, and there are some exemptions, like if you have a green plate, for instance, or if you're on a motorcycle, then you can go solo. Green plates for electric vehicles. Can't go over speed limit. What's that an answer to? I don't see the question. Okay. This not having Q&A stinks, I got to tell you.
Oh, is it not working for you either?
It's not working for you too?
Oh, that's why my lives were awful when you were away.
Well, there you go. It's not just me. I thought there was a switch.
So it's been going on for 2 weeks now at least.
Well, I only did one live and noticed that the Q&A was broken. So TikTok, get on it.
Well, I have a question that just came up for you here.
Okay,
actually, I'm interested in hearing about this too. Hey, Sean, what's the most unnerving kind of traffic stop you've conducted as part of TSV?
The most unnerving.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're all, listen, traffic stops are all unknown situations. You're pulling someone over, you don't know what they're doing or what's inside the car. Is it someone just, a good person on having a bad day of driving, or is it a bad person who's luring a police officer into a stop? You never know. And so you're always on in a level of alertness. You're paying attention because every situation could go south. And I don't know if you watch. Do you watch Bosch Legacy? Aaron?
Sorry?
You ever watch Bosch Legacy?
No, I've never.
Have you ever watched Bosch? Great show. It's on. I'm watching it on Amazon Prime Video. And Bosch Legacy, the episode I was watching on the plane ride home from Florida yesterday, a young recruit did a traffic stop and got shot. And I actually had a visceral reaction to when she got shot. Traffic stops are dangerous. Okay, what do we got here? Is there a limit to loud music in the vehicle? Yes. Because if it's no longer in the vehicle and you can hear it outside and I can feel it outside, that's unnecessary noise. Doesn't matter if your muffler's making noise, your stereo's making noise, your horn's making noise. If it's too loud, it's too loud and you can be charged. What is this? Oh, okay. Did you make a traffic jam with the local PD in Florida? I did a tour. So I was in Orlando. I went to Disney and Universal Studios and all that jazz. And when I was down there, I met up with some people at the fine folks, I should say, at the Orange County Sheriff's Office. They have a traffic unit, a motor squad. They have all sorts of amazing things that they're responsible for. So I went down and I met with a lieutenant there, gave me the tour, and we had such a good conversation about the way we do things versus the way they do things. And I thought it would be a great episode opportunity, but we didn't record it then. We're going to record it remotely now that I'm back at work, but we're totally going to do that. Let's see here.
Dory.
Hey, we're going to suggest that people may not know who I am. Is that what we were trying to say? My name is Sean Shapiro. I'm a police constable with the Toronto Police Service here in Ontario, Canada. I go live Monday to Friday from 10 to 11 answering your traffic and police questions. I've been away for a couple of weeks, so if you're seeing me for the first time, know that this is the first time that I've been live in a couple of weeks. That's not true. I went live from my balcony at the hotel for an hour. I missed everybody so much, I had to talk traffic for a few minutes. Ryan Pinn says, I saw someone with Ontario plates with a tinted plate cover. Said, that'll get you a ticket, Ontario. Absolutely. Tinted plate covers will get you a plate, a tinted or a license plate frame. In fact, anything on your license plate could get you a ticket here in Ontario. You also have to have your front and rear license plate installed and in clear view. Front license plate cannot be behind your windshield, by the way. Caitlin says, good morning, Sean and Q. Long time no see. How was Florida? Florida was awesome. I could see myself spending a lot more time in Florida. Yeah, I like it there. What is this? Here's a question. If I full stop at an intersection on a red to make a right and the opposite direction has a green but is doing a U-turn into my lane, who should be going first and is anyone in the wrong? Well, here's a fun thing. Both drivers are responsible to make turns in safety. So, I would say the U-turn driver has more of an obligation to make sure it's safe than anybody else. But if you get into a collision because you're both turning, neither one of you made a good decision. And as my friend Scott Marshall says, you give right-of-way, you don't get a right-of-way, because you can't really guarantee what the other person's doing. Even if it's your right-of-way, you may end up in a collision, and then nobody wins. So I would wait if you see someone who may be making a U-turn, I would give them a couple of extra seconds because you're still responsible to ensure it's safe. So if you see someone who's doing something strange, I would just wait. Tracy Bell says, welcome back. I have a question that came up while you were away. Do motorcycles no longer need to have their headlights on during the day in Ontario? I have seen a few there that apparently have automatic headlights that only come on when it's dark outside, and I don't know if that was a thing. That's a good question. I'm not aware of any change that allows motorcycles to turn off their headlights. But if the vehicle if it's an old vehicle that has a manual switch or it didn't require it when it was built, like daytime running lights, that's entirely possible that it's an older. If it's a new one, I'm not aware of it. So I've got some homework to do based on your question, Tracy. Thanks for bringing it up. I'll ask the Motor Squad if they've heard anything. Okay.
Wellness check passed. Kraft is in chat.
What's going on, Sergeant Kraft? The office misses you. Hope you're doing well. Okay. I see so many vehicles with covers over the license plate or unlegible. Yeah. Whether your license plate is illegible or like my words have just left the building. If you can't read a license plate, if it's not legible, then it is, whether it be by peeling or damage or cover, they're all illegal. It's all the same thing. If it's not clearly, if it cannot clearly be read, it's a problem. Okay.
What happens when you don't wear your glasses when it's indicated on your license?
Then you're
or corrective
violating
lenses.
You're violating a condition, and you can be charged for violating a condition of your license. If you're involved in a motor vehicle collision and you're not wearing your glasses, that can also help, contribute to the investigation, suggesting that you may have had more of a cause than simply making a incorrect turn, or whatever the case may be. But if you have a restriction saying you have to wear glasses, you have to wear glasses when you drive. Okay. With the new plate law, what is it all about? Because I keep hearing different stories. Okay, let's backtrack. Recently, Ontario changed the rules about having stickers on license plates. There are no longer stickers being issued when you renew your license plate. You notice I say renew your license plate. You're still obligated to renew it, but there's no charge. You have to go online, get into that system, punch in your certificate number, that permit number, and the mileage, and the system will be looking for information about insurance if it doesn't validate automatically. And that's it. You choose 1 or 2 years, and you get a receipt, and you're good to go. Our system gets updated, and you have a receipt that has additional proof that you did it. but that's it. No sticker gets issued. So if you, and that's for certain vehicles, not all vehicles, I should say, because there are some, it's light trucks, I think under 3,000 kilos, motorcycles and automobiles. If it's not, if you're a heavier truck, commercial truck, you're still going to have to renew. You're still going to get a sticker. Different rules for different vehicles. But that's about it. People were getting tickets for not renewing their system. They didn't realize that they still had to renew. So if you don't renew, your plate's not legal. It's not licensed for the road, and you can't operate your vehicle. So no cost, no sticker. You still have to renew online. And that is the Coles Notes. What is this? Hypothetically, if someone comes from a province with 2 plates and takes the front one off in another province, would there still be a charge? Well, yeah. If it's not a charge in your area, the police may not notice or pay attention to it, but technically they're still in violation of failing to display 2 plates. And why would anyone do that? Let's see here. Tracy Bell says, these were new motorcycles, and I wondered if they were imported from the U.S. Entirely possible. In Europe, you have to have 3, I think it's 3 bulbs or 2 bulbs to the front. Like they have more, not less. So I don't know why that would be. It could have been something that was done aftermarket. A lot of people choose to remove cowling and change their lights, and there's all sorts of issues with that as well. I certainly wouldn't want to ride a motorcycle without headlights, or it could have been an e-bike. Are you sure it was a gas-powered actual motorcycle? A lot of people with e-bikes that they're, chopping up and flipping switches to save battery. Let's see here. Okay, let's see what's going on here. That isn't that a horrible sound?
It's terrible.
It is terrible.
It makes me want to peace out, but I'll stay.
Well, I thank you. I deal with this every day. The joys of having LTE on a rainy day. Some days it's much worse, like right now.
Yeah, today is probably the worst it's ever been. It's usually just in and out, but
yeah.
Today it's constant.
Okay, if a doc suspends your license, how much and how long does it take to get it back? Well, if you're on a medical suspension, it's until the doctor determines that you are no longer under a medical suspension. They'll usually put a time limit on it, or I think it would be time limit, and then you'd reapply. You may need to come with documentation to say you're no longer restricted from driving. But more than that, I don't know. You'd have to talk to your doctor. If you do have a medical suspension, don't drive. There's a reason they've suspended it. Ryan says he's having an allergy day, so sorry if his interactions are a little weird. All right. Reflective chrome tint is illegal, correct? So chrome tint is illegal on your windshield. Well, any tint's illegal on your windshield. Chrome tint is illegal on the windows left and right of the driver. So the regulated windows, it would be illegal. There's a charge that says obscure interior vehicle with color or reflective tint. So if I can't see inside the vehicle to see the driver compartment because of chrome or reflective, I should say, or simply too dark tint, it's illegal. The windows behind the driver and the rear window, I would argue that they can be as dark or as reflective as you want, because those, you don't have to have windows there. There's no law saying you have to have a window there. Let's see here. Okay, we already covered this, we covered that. So what about exhausts that have been modified by no catalytic converter or, and I don't know what the or goes, but catalytic converters are required equipment. You've got to have them, whether it was stolen or you decided to cut it out because you think you're going to get 2 horsepower or more. Don't, because modern vehicles don't get any significant benefit to removing your catalytic converters. They're pretty free-flowing, and they are required by law. You're probably going to mess up your engine if you take them out. So aside from that, what's the story with exhausts? Well, you have to have one. You have to have a muffler. You have to have your properly functioning system, which usually includes a resonator. And if you remove those things, you can be charged. And when you remove these things, you tend to get louder, which also has charges under the Highway Traffic Act. I have a B-Series plate and use a clear plate cover. I don't know, the B-Series plates were covered under a warranty, most of them anyway. Get it replaced if it's bubbling or peeling, and you can't use a plate cover because even the clear ones are technically illegal. Now, if you're doing it, you don't get stopped, happy days, but it's not legal. Know that you could be stopped and charged. What is this? What is the point of a front plate? Well, funny you should ask that. Front plates allow people who are facing the front of the vehicle to read your license plate. Yeah. No, the deal is that it allows for the vehicle to have twice as many opportunities to be identified, and there's lots of reasons why we want to identify vehicles, whether they were involved in collisions, involved in crime, involved, maybe we're looking for someone in relation to what's it called, Amber Alert. At the end of the day, you need to identify your vehicle. The law says you have to have 2 plates. That's how it's. That's why they get issued, and if you don't have both, you get a ticket. Sergeant Campbell, how you doing?
Hey, Sean, welcome back.
Thank you. Good to be back. TikTok decided to break something while I was away. I thought it was me. I'm now, based on Aaron educating me, I now know that it's all TikTok's fault, and I have no fault in the situation. Q&A doesn't work.
Bad TikTok.
Bad TikTok.
Q&A. Well, how are we doing our show if we don't have a Q&A?
Yeah, we got the moderators are working double time here.
Yeah, we went straight into the show, so we haven't made that stuff.
Oh.
So we're scanning line by line in the chat looking for questions. So it's a little clunky.
Yeah, I'm sure it would be. I wonder why they've done that.
They literally broke it. I can't imagine they chose to do this. But they've been doing a lot of great updates, so good on them. Okay. A lot of cool stuff coming. There's a new editing suite coming to the platform, so we're looking forward to that. Okay, we're way behind in these. My ex-girlfriend was hit by a bus, and today I got fired from my bus driving job. Funny, haha. Okay. I should read the whole question before reading the beginning.
I was like, what?
That's too much. Okay. What happens when you don't wear your glasses? We covered this. That's how far back we are. We're like 10 minutes ago we asked that question. Okay, keep on going.
I found a question that might
questions are good. I like questions.
for you, not for me. When you turn at a light, do you have to turn in the lane closest to you?
Do you have to?
So,
so
like
you
if
have
you're
to be
making a left or a right.
So you have to
either
be.
way.
You have to be turning in an actual turning lane. So if you're making if you're at the curb lane, you can make a right turn at a curb lane. If you're in a situation where you're in a right turn lane, then that's the right turn lane. If the middle lane is a straight through lane, you can't make a right turn in it. There are situations when you get off the highway where there are multiple left and right turn lanes, and in that case, you can make turns from either.
Right, but you must turn into the corresponding lane on the other road.
Yes.
So if you're doing it from, the second lane from the curb, you have to turn into the second lane from
Yes.
the curb.
Otherwise, it would be an improper turn.
Right. So if you are in the right turn lane and there's only one right turn lane, you must enter the farthest right lane.
Yeah. So if you're making a lane change, you go from the outside lane to the inside lane. You're now committing an offense. You have to go to the appropriate lane. And it's for safety. People expect you to do certain things, and if you don't play along the same rules, it's a problem. It causes collisions. Does the speed camera take a photo if you're driving towards it in the oncoming lane? I honestly don't know the answer to this question. It's something run by the city of Toronto, not the police. Any thoughts on that?
I know it can't do bi-directional. So if it's set up to do cars driving away from the camera, it'll just do cars driving away from the camera. If it is set up the opposite direction, it can, oh, that's better.
Way better.
It can pick up the cars coming at it as well.
Okay, so it depends on how it's set up.
Yep.
And you never know. You know what the easiest way to avoid getting tickets from those things?
Don't speed.
That is the correct answer. Points on the board. Okay. But what is this? This is Ontario. Yes. Loud stock exhaust ? So any vehicle that's sold in Ontario that meets the regulation, it should be meeting the regulation to be sold here, at idle with the system as it was designed by the manufacturer, should meet the grade. If you modify that afterwards, or if you decide to have the aftermarket exhaust put on by the dealership, that is different. That's not legal. You still have to meet the grade.
Well, it might not be legal, but it might be.
Yes.
So any vehicle entering North America has to go through a safety, have to have a compliance sticker issued to it. You can find that compliance sticker usually on the B pillar when you open up the driver's side door. It says that everything on this vehicle has been manufactured to a standard that it meets in North America. Canada has our own compliance labels we also put on cars. That compliance label will have of course, a little maple leaf on it that you'll see. So if you change it from what comes from the manufacturer, you could risk not being in compliance.
Tracy says, Sarge.
Tracy!
So there's your answer. When you start changing things, you're no longer covered by that sticker. The sticker no longer does what it's supposed to do, which is tell you that everything's cool. Listen, a Lamborghini stock is going to be louder in many cases than something with half as many cylinders. But at idle, when it's measured, it's going to be okay. If you start driving it like it was designed to be driven, you're probably going to create unnecessary noise and be eligible for a ticket. Driver behavior has a huge component, a huge part to play in what is unnecessary about the noise being created. If you drive it, at what is required to get to speed and then drive it responsibly, you're not going to create unnecessary noise, even in a louder car.
What if you had like a Honda Civic or something?
If you took that Honda Civic and you redlined it everywhere you go, even if you were only doing 20 kilometers an hour, you're going to get a ticket for unnecessary noise because you're not driving it properly and you're creating unnecessary noise. It's amazing how that works. Let's see here.
There's a question in chat. They were involved in a collision a while back, but the other driver did not have active insurance at the time. Can they report that?
Well, that's something that should have been reported at the time of the collision. If the other driver didn't have insurance, that's a call to police. So there's a couple of things. If you're involved in the collision and it's minor, there's no injuries or no damage, you're just making contact, that's not even considered a reportable collision at that point. If you have damage or injuries, you do have to report it. Damage over $2,000 requires a report, and injury would require a report. But the fact is, if someone didn't have their appropriate documents at that time, even for a minor collision, it would be calling the police.
Absolutely. You want to confirm that before you leave the scene. And you know what? On top of that as well, not only is it injury or damage above the threshold, which is $2,000, anything criminal in nature, if you suspect somebody's been drinking, somebody is on drugs, something like that, you have to have the police come and investigate it.
And additionally, pedestrians, anything involving a pedestrian, anything involving a cyclist, those are all investigated at scene, assuming there is damage or injury.
Well, in the city of Toronto, cyclists can actually report to the Collision Reporting Center. We have a new one, a new location that just opened up at Traffic Services in the downtown core for cyclists. If they're involved in if they leave the scene and want to report it later, they can come in here and do it.
And that's really cool. There's an online app. It's a web app, but it's an app you can start your report there and then complete it at the station or at any one of the three locations. One happens to be in a station, but it is a separate entity, and that saves time. But that's only for pedestrians and cyclists that can use the app. Everything else, any motor vehicle needs to go to the other two locations only, not the one here at Hannah.
Right. So they either get investigated at the scene when a police officer comes out to you, but we don't really have enough police officers to go around for all the collisions that occur in the city. So we have collision reporting centers, and they're staffed during the daytime. And your vehicle and you, the driver, have to go with all your documents, and a report will be taken at that time.
Here's a question. If I stall my car at a light and get rear-ended, who's at fault?
Well, the person who runs into you, nobody should ever run into anything with a car, ever.
You're kind of responsible for looking to make sure the way is clear.
Yep, absolutely.
Following too close might play into that.
If you stall your vehicle at a light, it happens. It's something, if you're driving a standard, it takes a little bit of learning to be able to do it correctly. So the people behind you, if they're assuming you're going to take off and all of a sudden you stop, they're obviously not paying enough attention.
Now, what happens if you roll back into the car?
If you roll backwards into the car that's sitting behind you, guess what? That's your fault.
Yes, it changes things a little bit. Do you have to wear eye protection while riding a motorcycle in Ontario? Sunglasses or goggles? It's not a requirement under law, but it is certainly a good suggestion.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you do have a shield that is on and you're using it on your helmet, it has to be one that actually complies. So there are shields that are out there. I have one I use on my snowmobile helmet. It's a double shield, but it isn't really optically correct. So it's not allowed to be used on the road.
Optically correct's kind of important. It's like putting on glasses that aren't your prescription. If you can't see well through them, they're not a good idea.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then so much so they made a law about it.
Or your depth perception or anything like that.
At the time of the collision, they were too angry to notice that their insurance was out of date, sadly. Well, if they provide it to you and you still have it, it may just be a card that's out of date, and I would, you still make your report. So if it turns out that they don't have insurance or it wasn't valid, that can still be investigated.
Yeah, and you know what? We will investigate for you. If you come in with the information that you have and say that it was out of date, we will do the follow-up and make sure that
Yeah.
the other driver was properly insured.
This is one of those things when people exchange information and then they say, but let me pay you cash. Don't report it. Let me pay you cash. These are situations that occur in those very often where people don't want to pay and then you decide later to go after the insurance. If it's a reportable offense, you'd need to report it.
Yeah, two totally separate things. Reporting a collision is mandated by the Ministry of Transportation, but it doesn't mean you have to go through insurance. If you've worked out a deal with the other driver and you've made a report, you've complied what you're obligated to do, because you can be charged if you don't, you can get your car fixed any way that you seem fit. And if that means going through the insurance, you put a claim through. If it isn't, if there's going to be money exchange between two parties, that's fine as well, as long as you've complied with what you have to do and made the report.
Absolutely. Question was, what does PC stand for? PC stands for Police Constable. That's my rank. Sergeant Campbell is Sergeant, not PC.
I thought you were pretty cool.
I'll take pretty cool. I had to think about that for a second. Okay, yeah. What is this? My license shows it expires in June on my birthday, but I got nothing in the mail. Should I go get it? Well, I got news for you. If your license said it expired in June on your birthday, you are currently unlicensed. If it's an Ontario license, that is a G or an M or anything other than a learner's permit. If you have an M1 or a probationer, I should say, also because you're M1, M2, G1, G2, then you're covered under an extension that takes you to December 31st of this year. If you, again, are not a learner, you have a full license, and it said that it expires or expired in June, because we're in June now, then it's going to expire on that day.
Yeah, and I know for a fact that reminder letters have not gone out.
They're not doing it anymore. You can sign up online for online renewal, and they will online renewal reminders. You can do that for your health card, your driver's license, your license plates, everything. There's different check boxes. But go to the MTO, and when you enroll for one, you enroll for all.
And most importantly, happy birthday to whoever sent you
Yes.
the message.
Yes. Are we going to sing? No, we're not singing.
I don't sing.
We do not sing. It's in our contract. That's not true. I've actually sung. Let's see here. Looking for something here. Toxic law. Don't know which law we're referring to. It's old. It's old. Is it true you can get a religious exemption to not use a helmet while riding your motorcycle? There is an exemption for members of the Sikh faith who wear a turban. They do not require a helmet in Ontario. That's a fairly recent change.
Yep, everybody else does, and you know what? It makes sense to wear one.
Yeah. I've been in a collision. That's how I ended up in this office, and I don't suggest it. But I will tell you that if I wasn't wearing a helmet on that day, I may not be here at all.
You know what? I also been in a collision. My helmet took not only did it save me from my face from skidding down the road, but it took quite an impact. So I also feel exactly the same way. I got to tell you, I was in Hawaii, and I rented a motorcycle while I was down there to go explore the island, and they have no helmet laws down there. And I made it about 5 minutes before I turned around and said, no, you got to find me a helmet. It's just not right. And I felt awkward. I felt weird because, you know what? And it, quite literally, it wasn't safe.
I was riding to Georgia, and I got to Ohio, and they said no helmet law, and I pulled over, took my helmet, packed it in my back, got on the highway, made it one exit before I pulled off, put it back on. I'm like, this is so weird. And all it was covering my lid, like it was a half helmet.
Yep.
But it felt so strange. So strange. Okay. Oh, same guy talking about the helmets. He says, why is it only Sikhs? Is that not discriminatory by only making it an exemption for Sikhs? Well, as far as I know, I'm not familiar with any other faith that their headgear prevents that wearing of a helmet. I'm Jewish. I can wear a yarmulke and I can wear a helmet.
Yeah, I'm sure before that exemption was passed through government, it was probably reviewed and determined to be okay until somebody challenges it and somebody says that it is.
Yeah, absolutely. Sun strip on front windshield law. If your vehicle was manufactured 2017 or newer, you cannot have a sun strip on your windshield. In fact, you can have nothing on your windshield. You can't even obstruct it with other stickers. There's no Stitch can't have a Stitch sticker. Stitch. I went to Disney. I got to pick a character. If your vehicle was manufactured before 2017, so it's a 16 or older, you can have a 3-inch or 75 millimeters sun strip on the top. Now it's from the top of the windshield to the AS1 line, or 3 inches, whichever happens first.
And you know what? If you ask what an AS1 line is,
I would not have an answer.
have a look at your windshield. There's actually a marking, a little tiny little marking on it where that is.
Yes, but what does AS1 mean?
I don't know.
I don't know either, but I know where it is, and I look for the line in all the vehicles I get into because I know it's there. That's how low the tint could be.
You know what? I didn't even know it was there. I'd never noticed it in all the years I've been driving until you said it, and I went out and had a look.
That's too funny. Okay. What is this? Can I ride my friend's motorcycle in a parking lot? I do not have a bike license. Legally, on private property, we can't charge you for drive without a license. Is that a good idea? Maybe not a good idea.
You know what? When I turned 16 many years ago, I did a rider training course, and it was done in a parking lot on a private property, and nobody there had a motorcycle license. So you have to learn somewhere.
Yes.
Do it smart, do it safely, and do it in an area that you're not going to risk anybody else. And no, you don't need a license for it, but follow all the other rules.
But here's something to take into consideration. You're going to ride your friend's bike. If you dump it in a parking lot, you're still going to damage that bike, and you're not a licensed rider, which means their insurance isn't going to cover it. Now, they may not want to cover the insurance. Like, you go to a riding school, yes, you're riding without a license, but you actually, no, you're required to have your M1. You're required to have your learners. So you'd still be covered under license insurance.
You know what? I never thought about that yet. You're absolutely correct.
Yeah, I was listening to you, and I'm not alone going, yeah, it makes total sense. Get your M1. It's good for 70 days if it hasn't changed. 90 days?
90 days.
90 days. Was it the old one was 70 days, wasn't it?
The old one was 90 days as well.
Still?
They used to call it a 90-day.
Oh, well, there you go. I don't know why I think
And then
70.
the old one for a car was a 365.
And that one I had.
Because it was good for
360. So it was a 90-day?
Yeah.
I don't know where I came up with the 70. I've been saying it for years. Okay, I've been wrong for years. Check mark there. Okay, are taillight tints illegal? Are taillight tints legal? That's all yours.
hard no. And it's the dumbest thing I have ever seen anybody ever do. Why would you ever want to reduce your brake light ability so that the people that are not paying attention behind you don't see you slowing down and run into the back of you? It just makes no sense to me at all.
We think we often find clues as police officers when we investigate, and tinted taillights are a clue that might make you more responsible for the collision that you've just become involved in when you were rear-ended. That would normally always go to the person who hit you. But
I always make notes of that when I'm doing a collision investigation, and insurance companies, they see my notes, and they can deal with it how they want to deal with it. And if that means denying your claim because you've modified your vehicle, making it less safer, then
kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
Big Bubs concurs and says 90 days, but you can take your M2 in 60 days. I've been riding a motorcycle for so long that these numbers just all blend together. What do we have here? AS1, Big Jeff Fresh NQ typed in and said, AS1 line means that it is the clearest form of glass to use in cars. AS2 or 3 would mean that it is tinted, and only AS1 glass can be used as a windshield. I did not know that.
There you go.
And now I do.
So now there's not an AS1 line, but that's a classification for glass.
But there's a line there too.
There actually is, and there's a little tiny little, I don't know, something on the windshield that you hardly ever see. But if you look for it, it is there.
Yes.
And that's the line.
It's thou shalt not cross said line. Okay. What do we have here? We have stuff. What happens when you get pulled over for having no plate and license on your motorcycle? So you have no plate, no license, you probably no insurance. It's a whole bunch of stuff that can happen. So let's get into it. $110 ticket for not having the license plate affixed. You have if you have no license, that's a $300 ticket?
I'm not sure, but
I can't get it. My phone's currently on Instagram. But
if you have no plate on there, then you're probably not a safe motorcycle because it probably hasn't been safety. It probably has defects on it. You have no permit for it, probably not insured, and there's a $5,000 one right there.
$5,000 to $25,000 on your first conviction,
Yeah,
and up to 6 months in jail.
and you know what? It would just keep racking up.
Yeah,
I would run out of paper in the car.
I would try to.
You would try to run out
I would
of
try.
paper?
I would write as many tickets as I possibly could.
There is no reason you should be on the road on a motorcycle with no plates and no license.
Or for in an automobile, any vehicle on the road must be properly licensed, insured, and the driver who's operating it must be properly insured and licensed. So if any of those things are out, that's why we give tickets.
Yep.
And ultimately, these are the people who, if very often we do come across these vehicles, the people who don't want to be identified. They don't want to stop for police. They are the people who are more likely going to be breaking laws.
And you know what? They're not going to stop if they get into a collision with you either. So think about it that way.
What about motorcycle visor tear-offs? Are those fine? So these are tear-offs. I've seen them on dirt bikes for mud.
Yep. Why would you need a tear off on your goggles?
I can't imagine having them on a street bike.
Well, there wouldn't be any reason to have them.
Yeah, but if it's raining, you just keep on flipping them.
Well, you'd run out pretty quick. You know what? Have a look at the goggle manufacturer, the box. Have a read of it. If it says not for highway use, then
No.
no. It's
I imagine it wouldn't be optically correct. You're putting up a piece of plastic over. It would be no different, I think, than having an anti-fog strip, or that would be not legal.
yeah.
I'm assuming. I don't know.
You know what? I ride off road, and I know the tear offs can get kind of expensive, and they're great if you're in a race. If you're in a timed race and you cannot stop, then they're great. For me, I just pull over.
Reacher58 says, I'm looking at that AS1 line, black printed marking right now. Yes, I'm parked. Haha. Let's see here. Can you have metallic sun strips that transport trucks have, but in your car? So, no, you can't have. Well, if a vehicle, first of all, vehicle, commercial or not, can't have a sun strip if it's manufactured after 2017 or later. So that would be a no for any vehicle. And if you have a vehicle that's older, can you have a reflective sun strip? It's only the sun strip. You're not preventing the ability to see in the vehicle. So older ones, it might be okay. Because it's the part where reflection comes into an issue is from obscuring the interior of a vehicle. I don't think that a sun strip on the top would be obscuring.
Yeah, I don't know. But I'm going to say if it's reflective, probably no light is getting through it at all, and you probably can't see through it at all.
I don't know.
Why would you want to make your windshield less effective?
Yeah.
Tinting it is good. You can still see through it. You can still see shapes.
Well, if it's reflective out in versus you can still be able to see out.
Right, but if it's reflective out, then the light is not going to travel through it, which means you can't see through it because that's how we see. Light travels through something to our eyeballs.
Yeah, but tinted glasses, you still see them.
Yeah, but a reflected one, you
Yeah.
can't because it's reflecting all the light back again.
Interesting. Okay, are you allowed to lower a car? You can lower a car within, I believe, 3 inches is up, 1.5 inches down. I think that was how low you can go. But the truth is you can go lower than stock, but beyond that, you are probably going to get yourself into the realm of unsafe vehicle. Now, we don't go around measuring 1.5 and then checking standards to see what the vehicle came out of the factory with, but we will look at vehicles and look for tire contact rub with body frame when you're rack to rack, when you compress the suspension. There's a lot of issues with lowering a vehicle, especially when people do it on the cheap. A factory or OEM approved lowering kit is very different than something that you buy aftermarket.
Yeah, usually if you lower a vehicle the cheap way, you're compressing the springs down, you're compressing the shocks down, and it doesn't allow it to work properly. If you have properly lowering vehicles, you have different spindles, different A-arms, things like that do it. There's limits to what you can do, but as long as everything is safe and it still handles the same way, then sure, why not?
Okay. Can you please advise 5 ton per axle? It's include truck weight as well? ? So when our commercial vehicle guys go out, they actually measure the weight by the axle. They put scales underneath each one.
Right. So the downward pressure on the roadway It can be no greater than 5 tons on any axle. So if you put a big load in there and you don't have enough axles, like a 5-ton straight truck with one axle, and you put greater than 4 tons in there and your truck weighs a ton, you may have a problem.
Mm-hmm. I've gone. I'm always interested in commercial vehicle stuff, but we have folks that specialize in that. We have a team that come out. They have the tools to measure it, and they're the ones who are ultimately going to be laying charges in relation to that.
Yeah. So the load limitation in the springtime is because it's to save our roads. It's to save the wear and tear on our roads. The gravel underneath and everything supporting the road has gotten wet over the winter time. It has heaved. It's soft. And if you put an awful lot of weight on there, it does degrade our roads.
It leads to collisions. It leads to damage to other vehicles.
It also leads to big ruts in the roadway if you've seen them.
Not fun on a motorcycle.
No, not fun on a motorcycle, and not fun when they're filled with water either.
Mm-hmm. Okay. There was something that popped by that. I wanted to say thank you for the video you posted the other day talking about legal car modes. Well, you're very welcome. There's a lot of misconception, and we try and dispel the rumors and explain things so that we can get everybody on the right page. A lot of legal stuff you can do, a lot of stuff that looks cool, that does good things to for performance and such. There's a lot of stuff that also breaks the law. So we want to keep you on the right side of it so you don't get tickets, you don't have issues, you don't get the collisions. These are all bad things that can happen if you modify your vehicle not knowing what the consequences are or what the potential side effects are.
Yep, absolutely. Some of my vehicles that I have are modified, but they're all done properly and they're all done legally.
The collection.
I have a few.
Let's see here. Is it illegal to eat ice cream on Bank Street on Sundays? I am not familiar with Bank Street, but if
Bank Street in Ottawa?
I don't know. I'm waiting for a confirmation.
It's got to be a song. That's got to be a line from a song.
What is this? I haven't paid a red light camera ticket since January 2022. Can my license be suspended? Red light tickets don't go against your driver's license. They go against your vehicle permits. You won't be able to renew your license plate, from my understanding, and at that point, you will not be legal to operate it will not be illegal to operate that vehicle on the road or any vehicle that you own.
You know what? You still have to renew your license plates. You don't have to pay money for it, and you don't have to put a sticker on it, but you still have to renew it. And if they're expired, like an awful lot of them I'm seeing right now, you can't operate on the road, and you can get a $110 ticket for doing it.
Or $500 in Montreal, apparently, or in Quebec.
Oh, well, there you go.
What's the legal way to have a dog in the car? Well, obviously, the first thing I should mention is not on the driver. They should be in the back seat, tethered, or in a pet carrier. That's the safest way to transport them. Front seat is not a good idea because they tend to want to hang out with you, and they can't do that. You'd be charged for either careless driving or drive while crowded if they're on your lap. Smaller dogs. Big dogs, you just don't want to have them anywhere in the front so they can interfere with your ability to operate the vehicle safely. But back seat's best. The back seat is best for kids and animals, and tethering or seatbelts are a really important thing. Why? Because in the event of a collision, you don't want your animal to potentially take off and go for a run into traffic. If your window gets broken and they get spooked, and then bad things can happen. It's for their safety and yours. Apparently it's time. We're past 11 o'clock. Having fun. Sometimes we go long. Let's pick another question here. See if there's anything that needs to be talked about, spoken, discussed. Does city pay for damages to my car caused by a pothole? I believe there is a program that you can apply for damage to rims and such for obvious issues that there was. That caused damage. I know people who've actually applied successfully. Yep. I don't know the details of how to do it, but check out toronto.ca. It is toronto.ca, right? Toronto.ca. There should be something there. Or googly-goo it.
311 is another way to get information.
Yes, 311. Very good. Wow, I don't know if they're going to cover that. Broke a set of $3,500 wheels in a pothole. That's an expensive rim.
You must have had some pretty low-profile tires.
Rubber bands.
Yes.
Okay. What do we have here? Do we enforce, I have no idea about this, do we enforce conservation fishing laws, or is it just the Ministry of Natural Resources?
Well, we can enforce any provincial law within the province of Ontario. Would we have opportunity to? You know what? I got a call down at the Scarborough Bluffs. It was winter time. Actually, it was springtime. The ice was pretty thin, and there was a couple of guys out there that was actually in the bay ice fishing. And we got a call because it didn't look safe. The ice looked really, really thin. We went out there. Both the guys are in floater suits. They had all their equipment there. They had a blow-up vessel with them just in case. And they were allowed to fish as long as the ice was on the water there. So they complied with it. And the last thing I did is said, okay, sounds good to me. You obviously have your fishing licenses. Can I have a look at them? And they both looked at each other and went,
I did almost everything right.
So their day was done.
Oh, it's too funny. Just to let everyone know who's watching on Instagram, we won't be here for much longer. Instagram is going to time out in a couple minutes. So unless we got verified and didn't know it, then we're still live. And yeah, I don't know. If you get disconnected, you know why. A couple quick things. Somebody wants to know, can a Toronto cop arrest someone in Ottawa? We are police officers sworn for the province of Ontario. We have police powers anywhere in the province. So yes, we could.
24/7.
Yes.
Working or not.
We are obligated under the Police Services Act to take care of certain responsibilities. So if we see something, it's not just say something, we're going to act, whether it be actually getting involved or in some cases becoming the best witness and liaising with local police.
Yep, absolutely.
Driving, or if I'm carrying my daughter and in a park and something happens, it's going to be very difficult for me to safely protect my daughter and go arrest somebody. So that's going to be a situation where I've got to, do something outside of the box.
But it does happen.
It does happen, absolutely. And questions about firearms transportation. I'm not aware of any changes. I was on vacation for 2 weeks. Have there been any changes? Have you heard of anything?
Not that I'm aware of.
They've announced some potential changes on transfers, but they haven't come into effect yet. Federal government made some announcements, but I don't know where the story is on that. Okay. Someone asked about traffic cameras versus red light cameras. Are the CCTV cameras being used for red light? The red light cameras are dedicated cameras. They're a system unto their own. They're not the traffic cameras that just monitor so we can see from a traffic central to see what's going on. Those are just for observation. Red light cameras and speed cameras are dedicated systems, not the CCTV network. And on that note, we're going to bid you adieu. It's been a blast. Hopefully TikTok fixes their problem with
Well,
Q&A.
you know what? You're doing pretty good. We got some questions coming in, so
It's not easy.
it's
tough.
You know what? I can see the stress.
It's making me work. But like I said, it's been a blast. We'll be back tomorrow at 10 o'clock when we do it all over again. Have a wonderful day. Stay safe. And if you are traveling with pets in your car, know that the temperatures, they're going up, even though it's a rainy, miserable day. Don't leave animals left alone in their vehicles with their body temperatures can go up very quickly. And you can kill them. I assume you like your animals. You're not cooking them. All right. Have a wonderful day. We're out of here. I haven't pressed the sound effects button.
I'm Dory.
All my buttons died. That's the only button that works.
I'm Dory.
Goodbye.